It started with a knock at my door and ended with a Department of Homeland Security inquiry. My name is Mark Ellison. I live in a quiet hilltop neighborhood in Redwood Heights. My home backs up against a forest preserve, and to the casual observer, everything about my property looks ordinary. Two-story brick home, solar panels, a small vegetable garden, and, until recently, a concrete retaining wall that ran along the edge of my backyard slope. That retaining wall wasn't just for landscaping. It was a classified geo-barrier, reinforced and installed in coordination with federal agencies. Unfortunately, my neighbor Karen decided it didn't fit the visual aesthetic of our neighborhood. So without a permit, without a vote, without even a warning, she had it demolished. Karen is what you'd call an overzealous HOA board president with a clipboard and a personal vendetta. She didn't like the fact that my wall was over 42 inches tall when the HOA limit was 36. She didn't like the dull gray of the concrete, claiming it clashed with the natural look of the hillside. But most of all, she didn't like that I didn't ask her for permission to build it, even though I didn't have to. Why? Because that wall wasn't built by me. It was installed in 2020 by a joint federal task force under the guise of infrastructure reinforcement. Buried inside were seismic sensors, passive detection nodes, and shielding material designed to isolate signals from a secure underground conduit, one connecting a regional DHS comms line that ran under the foothills. The agreement? I maintain it as a retaining wall, and they maintain what's underneath. Simple, until Karen got involved. I first found out something was wrong when I returned from a weekend trip to Denver. As I pulled into my driveway, I saw it. The wall was gone. Where once stood a 40-foot concrete structure holding back the slope, there was now loose soil, exposed earth, and caution tape wrapped around a makeshift wooden fence. I ran into the backyard, stunned. My tomato plants had slid halfway down the embankment. The soil had shifted, causing a small landslide. My dog stood barking at the open trench. On the back of a lawn chair sat a note: retaining wall removed under HOA aesthetic guidelines. You're welcome. Karen. The moment I saw the exposed conduit, thick, shielded, with a property of US Gov label, I knew we had a problem. I went inside and triggered Protocol 9 via a secure laptop interface. It was the only time I'd ever used it in 5 years. 12 minutes later, I got a call. Unmarked number. This is Delta 2. Do you confirm the barrier breach? Confirmed. HOA demolition, civilian-led. Understood. Ground team en route. Less than an hour later, 2 black Suburbans and a nondescript utility van rolled up. Men in plain tactical gear walked directly to the backyard. They sealed the area off, deployed motion sensors, and began assessing the exposed conduit. Meanwhile, Karen strutted down the street. I hope they're here to rebuild with something more tasteful, she chirped. That wall was an eyesore. It brought down property values. One of the agents turned to her calmly. Ma'am, are you the individual who ordered the structure removed? I'm the HOA president. It violated our height restrictions, so I had it taken down. You people should thank me. The agent flashed a badge, not local police. Federal Infrastructure Protection. Ma'am, you've just committed unauthorized interference with classified infrastructure protected under federal statute. You need to remain on site for questioning. Her face drained of color. Turns out her hired demolition crew had been pulled from Craigslist. They didn't question the job, just took a few $1,000s and went to work with jackhammers. In doing so, they cracked the casing of a signal relay node used in regional threat monitoring. The sensors had already gone dark by the time the agents arrived. In layman's terms, she'd compromised part of a federal surveillance network. 2 days later, Karen received a formal visit from the Department of Homeland Security. Not a letter, not a phone call, a full in-person interview. She was warned that if she disclosed the nature of the infrastructure to anyone, she could face charges under the Espionage Act. The HOA was fined. The entire board resigned. And the wall? It was rebuilt within 48 hours. Only this time, taller, reinforced, and topped with a visible federal notice. Restricted structure, do not alter. Karen no longer talks to me. She passes my home with her head down, no clipboard, no comments. Maybe next time she'll think twice before bulldozing aesthetically displeasing barriers. Because not all walls are for show, some are the first line of defense, and some protect more than just your property line.